like this.
Hey guys, welcome to the Hanji Hello podcast. My name is Raxstar. This is episode 1. I'm going to be spending these podcasts talking about things that I'm going through, my experiences in and out of the music industry, and also helping you guys. There's a section at the end of the podcast where I will be trying to help you with problems that you have in life, advice, anything that you want to talk about. Feel free to email me, hanjihellopodcast@gmail.com. First subject I want to talk about is letting go. Letting go was something that I had to kind of figure out this week. Not that I haven't tried to master this previously. When I talk about letting go, I'm talking about not having an invested or emotional connection to the outcome of anything. That could be relationships, professional, like in my regards, like, you know, the release of music and how it is received, what it does. Let me just put this on, which is supposed to be... If you're watching the video, you'll see that there's supposed to be a cover of myself and Sunit, and I'm going to talk about that in a little while, how I met Sunit. But yeah, the art of letting go. I woke up earlier this week and I was feeling really crap about a few different things, personal things and professional things. And I stopped and I took a moment to try to understand why I felt the way I felt. And the reason why I felt the way I felt was, and the way I felt was shit, by the way, was because I had an emotional, invested interest in the outcome of something, and I had expectations, and these things were out of my control. And the more I struggled and fought and wanted things to be how I wanted them, they were supposed to be like how they're supposed to be in my head. The more I did that, the more I was fighting with reality, and the more I was just getting worked up and more negative. And it was literally like a spiral. So I woke up and I realized this. I took a deep breath. I realized why I was feeling the way I was feeling, which was because of my expectations and because I was trying to hold on to what I believed should happen. And I went on YouTube and all I typed in was letting go. And letting go led me to this video from this, I'll have to link it in the YouTube description. It was a video by this guy, and it was about relationships, actually. His video is about it's a kind of clickbaity title. It was letting go and making, you know, the person chase you, which was a bit clickbaity, but it worked because I clicked and I watched the video. And I applied it to a few different things that I was going through at that time. And he talked about when you're in a space of wanting something, you are in a space of... You're not in a space of ease, basically. When you say, I want this, or I want that, or things should be like this, or they should be like that, what you're doing is you're not in line with how things actually are. And the way I read it was, you must surrender. I had to surrender and let go of that. I had to let go of what I wanted to happen and what I believed should happen, or what was the right thing to happen. And just let things be. If it's supposed to be, it will be. And that doesn't mean you don't make any effort and you don't try hard or work hard. But once you've done that, once you've worked hard, once you've put done your best, you have to let go. And the rest is the rest. And you have to accept it for what it is. If you work hard on a project and you believe that you should have got a certain grade or you should have got a certain level of accolade for that work that you've done, you're in a space of wanting and not in a space of being. Once you've done everything that you can, you let it go, and what happens, happens. All you can do is give something your best. Once you've done that, it's out of your hands, and you have to let those things go. It's the same things with your expectations. If you have expectations in friendships, in relationships, I believe that this person should act this way or should say this, or that person should have done this or should have done that. Again, what you're not doing is letting go. And this is me now speaking from personal experience. And I just realized that I had to let go. Just let go. Everything that I've worked hard on, or those efforts that I've made in various different elements and spaces of my life. Once it's done, and let go. And you just feel lighter. Like I felt so much lighter after I listened to that. And I just stopped and realized what I was doing. I felt so much lighter. I felt like it freed up so much mental space in my head, and I didn't have to worry about, or be stressed out about, oh, this should have happened, that should have happened. So yeah, letting go, I know I'm going to go through this again. Like when you go through these, not like, okay, I clocked that level and now every single time I'm going to remember to do that. No, for me, I always repeat these same things, and it's like a cycle. I'll go through this again at a different point. I'm sure I'll have a similar experience in the future, and I've done it before as well. And that's when you have to stop again and realize, okay, I've been through this before. What did I do then? What helped? Let me do that again. And letting go, the art of letting go. It's a constant battle, but it's something that we should actively do. Just as we actively work hard and actively try to do things and make efforts and all this kind of stuff, which we should continue doing. But once it's done, let it go. Okay, so that was my little lesson of this week and this month, the art of letting go. I want to have a little section in this podcast where I go through certain things that I've been through, because I get a lot of questions about people asking me about my career and how did this happen? How did that happen? And I'm going to try and explore all those kind of questions that people ask. How did I get started in music? What did I do? Or how do you do this? How do you do that? I'm going to go through all of those things and share a bunch of stories with you guys. The first story that I want to kind of share with you is the beginning of kind of my career. A lot of people think I started music in 2011 with the release of Journeyman, but it started way before that. And I won't go all the way back to the beginning where I first started, but I'll go back to where I first met Sunit, which was kind of my break in music. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see that is the first, it's called Fulfilling Ambition EP. It was technically an album, it was 8 tracks, and that was the first project that me and Sunit put together. And my first song off that project was called Keep It Undercover. In 2005, it was released. So 15 years ago, and I'm celebrating 15 years in the game this year, which is wild to me, 15 years. Crazy. So how did I meet Sunit? How did this all start? So when I first was rapping in 2000, from 2001 to 2004, I'd say, pretty early than that when I was in school, American rappers were number one. American rappers, up until I'd say maybe even up until probably 7 or 8 years ago, American rap and hip hop would dominate the UK, dominate the whole world. And I used to rap in an American accent, and everyone did. Iceberg Slim, sick rapper. This is the Channel U days. Some of the stuff I'm saying is going to go over so many people's heads because they weren't around in those eras. But Iceberg Slim, he had a song, Iceberg Slim, he's the illest. MC, and he was a UK rapper, and he rapped in an American accent. He was sick. Who else was there? There was a bunch of people, man. I Spoke Slim did a track with Raghav as well. He was on Raghav's singles on the Mushtaq remix of Damages. So What If I? Shout out all my old heads that know all these songs that I'm talking about. Yeah, so people used to rap in an American accent, and it was normal. Like, you wouldn't rap in a UK accent back then. And if you did, it would just, no one would kind of take you seriously. You had like MCs, people would MC in like over Jungle. Even, Garage was around them as well. But it wasn't, like, people that were rapping over Garage, they were like, you know, they were saying stuff like, I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. Like, all due respect to those guys. And they were sick. Like, those songs, I used to love those songs as well. But they were like party songs. They were just like doing party stuff. It wasn't really songs like, you know, like bars. So anyway, this was me going off on a tangent. I used to rap in an American accent. I had a website. It was raxstar.cjb.net. And I had a website, and I was like, I used to go on forums and write my lyrics. This is way before like you could do videos and all this kind of stuff. This was before YouTube. It was all like text-based stuff. So I had a website, raxstar.cjb.net. And Bobby and Nahal had a show on Radio 1. It was called the, I don't know what it was called actually. I can't even remember now. Someone will know. Asian Beats Show or Asian something or other. And they had like a primetime show, 9 till 11, I think it was, on Radio 1, Wednesdays. I'm sure it was Tuesdays or Wednesdays. And I remember listening to the show. Everyone would listen to it every week. And I listened to their show one week. And they had a song, they had a remix of Galang by MIA. And it was called the Sunit remix. And I remember hearing that on their show. And everyone would listen to the show every week. And without fail. And they blew up so many artists because of that show. Like, things have changed so much. Like, one radio show affected so many different careers. And so Sunit, there was a Sunit remix of MIA song Galang. I'm sure you can find it somewhere online. He sampled Sholay, sampled that song from Sholay. I can't remember the song now, but it was sick. Mehbooba, he sampled Mehbooba, and it was so good. I was like, yo, this is sick, man. And like a week later, I got an email from my raxstar.cjb.net website from this guy called Sunit. It was like Sunit Production. I don't even think it was Sunit Production. I think it was just Sunit. I can't even remember, man. It might have been s.u.ni.t. And Sunit was like, hey, I went on your website and heard some of your songs, and in particular this song, which I'll tell you about in a second. And he goes, it's really sick and I'd love to like work with you. The song that Sunit heard was me rapping over Bubba Sparks' Ugly beat. And it was the part of the beat where it transitions from Ugly to Get Your Freak On by Missy Elliott. So it's like, basic. That's terrible. Please, this is why I don't produce like I stick to the lyrics because Anyway, like, ignore my crap making beats with my mouth sounds, but you get the idea. It was that part of the beat. And what did I rap? I rapped. The verse was something. It was it was just me playing around with words. It was like I said in an American accent. It was like, I blast past harass, you talk trash and master forecast the past. I'm born bad to last, the warpath, the cash. You can't have my wrath. It was basically like that. Yeah, so it's like a 16 bar like that, and it was over that beat, so it sounded like, you know, like really like on beat and skippy, and it was quite impressive if I do say so myself. And yeah, Sunit liked that. Sunit messaged me and said he liked that, and I was like, yeah, sick, like, you know, he gets it, he knows what I'm doing. So Sunit was like, let's work. And I emailed him back. I was like, yeah, cool. And then I checked out his website, and his website was amazing. He had like this Flash website, like all these crazy like animations and all this kind of stuff. And then he had like a a section where he had his beats. So I went on the section and I played. He might have 8 beats, and I think I played all of them, and they were all sick, like all amazing, amazing productions. One, I think it was called First Kiss. The beat's name was First Kiss, and I clicked it, and it was literally Keep It Undercover. That same like section at the beginning, and the beat kicks in, and I was like, yo, this is amazing. And then I can't remember I think he might have sent me that beat. If he didn't send it to me, I think I might have he must have sent it to me. Yeah, he must have I think he sent me that beat. I don't know how he sent it to me though, because were we sending MP3s in them days? Like, because I'm sure we weren't on broadband. Or if it was broadband, it was really crap broadband. Anyway, so I got that beat somehow. He sent it to me, maybe he posted me a CD, I can't remember. And I remember calling him and saying, we spoke on the phone, and I was like, oh, I've got this song that could possibly work. It's called Keep It Undercover. But I didn't have a chorus then. I just had kind of the verses. And I was like, maybe this would work over that beat. And he was like, cool. And I had my setup at home, and I remember having the MP3, and I recorded the verses. I sent the verses to him. How did I send the verses to him? I don't even think I sent the verses to him. Actually, yeah, it was MSN. MSN, yeah. So he must have sent me the beat over MSN, and then I recorded it, mixed it, did a little bounce, mixed it down, sent it back to him over MSN with my vocals over it. And he goes, I love it. And I was like, the chorus could just be, I think I love you, keep it undercover. I could just kind of, repeat that part. And Sunit was so cool. He was like, cool, that's fine. There's one part that Sunit said though that he wasn't feeling. I remember. And so there's a line in the song where I say, there was curry in the air, I could smell the masala. That, I don't know why, but that line kind of makes me cringe now. I think I would have worded it a little bit differently now. But yeah, it was there's curry in the air, I could smell the masala. Around the time Gurdasman came out with Challa. And Sunit goes to me, bro, that line, he goes, the song's sick, but the Gurdasman, Challa, maybe we can change that line. And I knew, as soon as I had written that and recorded it, I knew that is the line. That line is just going to connect. People will understand that line. They'll get it. And Sunit was like, bro, you should change it. And credit to Sunit, because, he, maybe he didn't connect with that part of the song, or he didn't connect with that line. He might have played it to his friends, and they might have been like, bro, it sounds good, but I'm not sure about that line. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask him. I can't remember. I don't know what it was, but he kind of brought that up to me. He was a bit iffy about that line. And I was like, nah, bro, that line's sick. Everyone's going to connect to that line. Because I knew that line was potent. There was a connection people would have to that, because I had a connection to it when I wrote it. And, I was like, bro, we have to keep it in. And Sunit was just like, okay, cool, bro. He trusted my judgment, and he was just like, cool, bro. If you say, I don't know if he was happy about it. I'll have to ask him. But he didn't, after he said it once, and I kind of was like, nah. He was like, okay, cool. And he kept it in, and we kept it in. And that was a line that so many people referenced and brought up when I bump into people. They're like, yo, that line of the song was so meaningful. It meant a lot. That part of the song, it took us back to that time in our lives as well. And yeah, so me and Sunit put that song out. And we recorded this. I can't remember what we recorded. We must have went to a studio. I think we went to a studio in Luton and recorded the vocals professionally in a proper studio, which is what you had to do in them days. And Sunit kind of mixed it as well as he could, because, we were both learning as we went. We were kind of inexperienced musicians with just raw talent. We didn't really know the ins and outs of how we would do things, and neither of us had got any type of training. It was just kind of self-taught. So I knew that Sunit had already had, obviously, Galang played on Radio 1 with Bobby in the house. I was like, do you think they'll play this song? And he was like, we can send it to them. So I'm like, hoping that they, Sunit sends it to them, and I'm hoping they like it, and I'm hoping they play it. And then I can't remember the phone call that Sunit and I had, or the conversation we had, but he was like, they like it, they're going to play it. And I was like, okay, cool. I was so gassed. And then this is like the biggest radio show. Like, there's not even a comparison to it now. There's no comparison to, not even a YouTube channel, or there's no comparison to the power that show had at that time. If your song got played on that show, life would change for you. So they said they were going to play the song. I remember I was in Wolverhampton the day that show was going to be on, and we were at my cousin's house, and we were driving back, and it takes an hour and a half to drive back to Luton from Coventry. So I think from Wolverhampton. So we left around 9:30. So I missed the first half an hour of the show because we couldn't listen to it while we were at the house. And I'm sitting in the car with my cousins. I remember Darren was driving, and we were driving back to Luton, and it was 9:30. I remember saying to them, yo, my song's going to get played on radio. My song's going to get played. And they were like, yeah, cool. They didn't mug me off. Like, they were just like, okay, cool. And we had the radio on in the car, which we probably would have listened to that show anyway if we were driving back at that time. Like I said, that show was so popular. And we were driving back in the car, and 9:30 to like 10:30, they're playing these songs. They're playing loads of other songs. They're talking. We're listening, and I'm nervous the whole time. And then, it's the last half an hour of the show, and I'm like, you know what? They're not going to play the song. I'm feeling so deflated. I was like, this is, I was embarrassed because, I told my cousins they're going to play it. And, they wouldn't have said anything, but, still, I just felt embarrassed. I felt like, I felt so deflated and so upset. We're driving back and they're not going to play it. Then they play a song finishes, and then they come back on, and then Bobby's like, sometimes we get a song. I'm paraphrasing now. I've got this audio somewhere. I need to find it, but I'm paraphrasing. But he's like, sometimes we get a song that's sick. Sometimes we get a song that's musically amazing. And sometimes we get a song that's, emotional and connects to us and beautifully written. And it's very rare that we get a song that's all three and everything all in one. That's what this next song is. And he was like, and back then when we first started, it was Sunit featuring Raxstar, Keep It. And he was like, this is Sunit featuring Raxstar, Keep It Undercover. And I was like, I was gassed. I'm getting butterflies just remembering that moment. Bobby said so many nice things. It was amazing, man. Amazing. I'm sitting in the car and they're playing the song and I'm with my cousins, and amazing memory. Such a beautiful, beautiful thing and time that I remember. And they played the song, and then they played a bunch of other songs, and they came back and they said something else about me and Sunit as well about the song. They just said something they just said something really flattering and positive. And I was just gassed. And then after that, we were just playing catch up after that. That was literally, that thrust us from being, these unknown artists, and it put us at the forefront. And that was in 2005. And we just played catch up for the next 3 years. We kind of played catch up. We didn't know what we were doing. There was no formula. We were just making songs that we loved, and we would send them to radio. And then we shot the video for Keep It Undercover, which is another story that I'll share with you another time. But that's basically the story of how I met Sunit and how we made Keep It Undercover and how it got released and came out eventually. So the last part of the podcast is going to be me, people that know me personally and that I speak to. I don't know, for some reason, I'm good at giving advice. I may not be good at taking my own advice or, putting things into a practical way for myself to understand, because obviously I'm emotionally invested in my own shit. But for some reason, I can look at other people's situations and kind of see what the issues are. And even then, like sometimes people don't even know me and they message me like and asking me for advice. And, you know, I try to give the best advice I can and try and help as much as I can. But yeah, so if you need any help, relationships, whatever, like I am no expert. I will just be honest with you and try to help you and, you know, speak from experience and speak from an objective place. Yeah, email me, hanjihellopodcast@gmail.com. So I got an email this week from someone that I won't name. It's a guy. He says, "Hey Rax, always been a big fan and now I need some relationship advice. Thank you, bro, for being a fan. First and foremost, let me see what I can do. I've met my best friend 4 years ago and we've been besties ever since." Cool. So you got a best friend 4 years ago. You've been best friends. "When I first met her," okay, it's a girl, "I tried to ask her out, but she played it off and said, let's just be friends." Okay. So you met a girl 4 years ago and you said, "I want you to be my girl." She said, "Let's be friends." And you've been best friends since. "We've become closer with time. Her parents call me son-in-law. We go on family trips and vacations, celebrate even our anniversary of entering each other's lives. I've always pushed for more and I've let her know, but she says she's not looking for anything where she's tied down to a relationship." Okay, bro, I can already tell, right? The first thing that I always say is believe people. When they tell you who they are or what they want, believe them. If someone says to you, "I'm an asshole," believe them. If someone says to you, "I don't want a relationship," this girl, you tried to move to her when you first met. When you first met her, I tried to ask her out, that's what you said. And she said, "Let's just be friends." She's told you twice now, "Let's just be friends." Or she's probably told you more than twice, but you've told me already in the first couple of sentences that she just wants to be friends. If she said that to you, bro, respect that decision. Let's see what else you've got to say, bro. Okay. I don't know why her parents are calling you son-in-law. That's not good. That makes it worse for you. Like it confuses you. On one side, okay, hold on. Let me read the rest of it before I get into it. She says she's not looking for anything where she's tied down to a relationship. Her parents keep telling me to hold on and wait and she will change her ways as she's just 21, but I'm 26 now and just want to finally settle down. Okay, firstly, like her parents are in the wrong. Her parents might like you and might see you as a son-in-law, but that doesn't mean that she sees you as a potential partner. That's very unfair on you. She's 21 and you're 26. Bro, even 26, like your 20s, in my opinion, your 20s should be spent trying to figure yourself out. A lot of people rush into long-term, as in like getting married and tied down relationships in their 20s. And it works for some people. Like I'm not saying it doesn't work. It does work for some people. But in my opinion, most people don't know who they are and don't know what they want from a relationship, especially when they're in their 20s, early 20s as well. You're just figuring yourself out. You're learning about who you are. You're learning about what you like, what you dislike. You'll have your heart broken and you will figure out, okay, cool. I've had my heart broken or I've been in a crap situation. What has that taught me about myself? You will learn so much about yourself from going through crap, and especially relationship crap. She's 21. So she has every right to live her life, enjoy her life, do what she wants to do. She's not looking to settle down and she shouldn't. Like, in my opinion, at 21, she shouldn't be looking to settle down. She should be enjoying her life, studying, finishing her studies up, figuring out what she wants to do with her career, enjoying time, going away, like figuring all the things that you would want to do when you're in your early 20s. You're 26, bro. You're still young. Like you're not in that stage where you need to be rushing around to try and get married or to settle down. I know there's a lot of pressure on us, especially as South Asians, to be married at a certain point in our lives and certain ages. But 26, you're still young, bro. Like you can still live your life and learn a lot before you actually settle down and figure out what it is that you want out of a relationship. Let me carry on reading because that's not the end either. Okay, there might be more. So she's 21 and you're 26 and you want to finally settle down. Okay. I can't imagine my life without her, but at the same time, I know she's what is holding me back from meeting someone else. Any other girl I meet, she has to be okay with her because she's my bestie. Secretly, I'm worried she would confess her love to me at the altar and I would run away with her. I don't know if I should just bite the bullet and get rid of her from my life or continue down half-hearted relationships and continue waiting. Maybe it's age maturity difference, or maybe we won't ever become a couple. Yet she gets me a promise ring, holds my hand, and tells me she's not physically into me, so it will never happen. Bro, there's a lot to unpack there. Most of the time, we already know the answers to our problems, and we convince ourselves that we don't. You've said, I don't know if I should just bite the bullet and get rid of her from my life. That's what you should do. This girl has told you she doesn't want to be in a relationship. She's made it very clear that you're just friends. She doesn't want anything else from you. Where it's a little bit confusing and maybe a bit unfair to you is, she gets me a promise ring, holds your hand. Like, the thing I see sometimes is when people are lonely and, this goes for men and women, but I mean, I've seen a lot of my my friends that are women. They have said this to me that they miss, they don't necessarily miss the physical side of a relationship, but they miss the closeness, like holding hands, hugging, just sharing intimate moments that aren't necessarily physical with someone. And she seems to be getting all of that from you, but you're not in a relationship. And that's unfair for you because it seems like you're being used because you're not in a relationship. She is single and you are single, but she's getting what she wants out of a relationship or what would be a relationship from you. And you're not getting any type of security or reassurance that you're the one for her. Bro, what you need to do, and this might be difficult at first because you're emotionally invested in her, is to separate from her and create boundaries. You need to say to her, if we're friends, then this is what a friendship means to me. This is what it means to be friends. It means we don't hold hands. We don't celebrate anniversaries. Like, bro, I got bare friends. We ain't celebrating anniversaries and I ain't holding hands with my friends. If she was a guy and she was your friend, even if she was your best friend, you'd not be doing these things with her. So you have to have those boundaries with her. And if she crosses those boundaries, you have to tell her you've crossed those boundaries. And even then, this is after you've processed what you need to process. So you do need to deal with the loss of her as a potential partner. And that's going to be shit for a while. It's going to be shit because you are emotionally invested in her and you do have feelings for her. So you have to process and deal with that before you can even be a friend to her or with her, because you will always have that inkling and feeling in the back of your mind, like, maybe she does actually like me, or maybe she might turn around one day and say, yeah, let's be more than friends. She's told you she doesn't want that. Believe her. Don't build a story in your head and tell yourself, she's going to turn around one day and change, because she might, but she's told you she hasn't. So right now you've got to meet her where she's at. And that's at a point of friendship. So yeah, it's going to be shit for a little while. You might have to cut contact and not speak to her or not see her for a little while. Focus on yourself. If things are shit, then sometimes, as guys, sometimes we just have to wallow in those feelings of pity and shit for a little while, play computer games, video games, listen to sad music, watch crap, on TV, whatever. I mean, one way of, that's a part of things, but you can also, for me, I love stand-up comedy and I love comedy. I feel like that always kind of switches the energy on me. So when I'm feeling shit, that's something that I'll love to do. So yeah, bro, it's going to be a bit crap for a little while. Deal with that, handle it, you know, speak to people, speak to your other friends about it as well. Don't hold any feelings that you have in, express those that need to be said. You know, work out as well. If you can, like, start going to the gym, hitting the weights, or going for a run, or even going for a walk. It will help you just to process things. And, you know, physical activity is good for your mental well-being as well. But yeah, this girl's not the one, bro. She's not the girl for you. She's told you she wants to be a friend. Life, you know, we have this, as guys, we have this weird thing where I blame movies as well. Like, we're given this kind of fairy tale way of things, especially in like Bollywood films, like where a girl doesn't like a guy and the guy is just so persistent and annoying to a point where she just like, then she falls in love with him. Like, bruv, that's not how life works. It doesn't work like that in real life. If a girl likes you, you will know. And if she doesn't like you and she wants you to be a friend, you will know. On a side note, actually, while I'm talking about this is probably podcast can go longer than I thought it was. But this dilemma and bro, things will get better. You know, you'll find the right person. Things will get better. And, you know, this is a learning point for you. This is a great way to learn more about yourself. When you meet a girl, you know that, you know, you don't want someone who just sees you as a friend or puts you in the friend zone, even though I don't like that phrase, puts you in the friend zone as soon as you meet her. Like, you know, you may like certain things about her, but there are certain things that you would want in a partner that she possibly doesn't have. And you'll learn this stuff as you process this. So yeah, the other point that, I mean, the kind of thing that it sparked in me was this film it reminded me of, called 500 Days of Summer. So 500 Days of Summer is a movie that came out around 10 years ago. And it's a great film. And when it first came out, it's basically a rom-com. It's rom-com for guys, like, you know, that's what they said when it came out. And it's about a guy who meets a girl called Summer. It's told out of order, but it's an amazing film, the way it's made. It's about a guy who meets a girl and he literally like falls in love with her as soon as he sees her. You know, as soon as he sees her, he falls in love with her and he wants to be with her and blah, blah, blah. And he builds this story in his head of who she is and what he wants her to be and, you know, how their relationship's going to be and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, she's kind of into him and they kind of have a little thing going. And, you know, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this film, you know, they don't actually end up with each other. But you do, I mean, as soon as the film starts, he says this is not a love story. So, I mean, that's not really a spoiler. Anyway, I would watch the film if I was you. And the reason why I bring it up is because my reading of the film has completely changed from the first time I saw it to the recent time I saw it. The first time I saw the film, I thought, you know what? Summer is such a bitch. Like, this guy is in love with her. He'll do anything for her. She's amazing. And he's doing so much for her and he wants to be with her and blah, blah, blah. And she's being so standoffish with him and she broke his heart and why is she so mean to him and blah, blah, blah. And that's how I read it because that's where I was in my life at that time. I watched that film again about 2 or 3 years ago. And similarly to the situation that I was just speaking about, she told him exactly how she felt right from the beginning. You watch that film now, you pay attention to everything that Summer says. She says, I don't want a relationship. I'm not the one. I'm not the person for you. She tells him and he refuses to believe her when she tells him. And he ends up hurt and, resentful towards her because of his own imagination of what he wanted her to be and how he felt she should be because of what he had created in his head. He wasn't paying attention to what she was actually saying and believing her at her word. So for me, that was such a fascinating thing to see 500 Days of Summer years later, after I've kind of learnt these lessons and realized these things for myself. And that's one lesson, believing people when they tell you who they are. reading that film, the years later when I've seen it, and thinking, Summer wasn't wrong. She's not a bitch. She was very honest with him from the beginning. She said, I don't want a relationship. I don't want to be with you. I'm not the person for you. She probably kind of liked him a little bit at the beginning, but when she realizes she doesn't want to be with him, she tells him. But he refuses to listen and to pay attention to the reality, and he ends up hurt. But in a similar way, that hurt teaches him a lot about himself, and he learns, and he excels afterwards. So yeah, maybe watch that film, maybe look at it from both perspectives and see what you think. That is the first episode of the Hanji Hello podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, if you've got any questions or need any advice or help with anything, hanjihellopodcast@gmail.com. And I'll see you guys next time. Like this.